Going to a football match in the middle of pandemic feels like an undergoing your stats in a reality TV show. A pre-match message instructs me to arrive at Hampton Tower in Glasgow 3 hours before Scotland. I must wear a mask at all times and must take all food from my micro bag into plastic bag provided by the stadium and all the catering allowed in the shop. 소노랜시 버거스
저건 뭐야? 저거.
When I visit the stadium.
저거?
이거?
파란색.
이거?
어,
이거 뭐 죽이는 거야 저런 벌레들.
파리?
yes. And 모기.
팔이 아니면 모기를 죽여? 그걸 옷에 뿌리는 거지? 그거 옷에 뿌리는 거 아니야? 아니 옷에 뿌리는 거 모기 아니면 파리 같은 걸 좋아하는데 그래서 거기다 그거 뿌리면 내가 좋아하는 거 아니야?
When I return up to stadium, there is early. The crowds are predictably spot. The pub outside the ground overflow with supporter wrapped in scarlet flag looked like a painting alternative. But when I suggest to Stuart that might go get a drink ahead of the
아니
game,
이거 같이 써줄래?
a look of concern crosses her kindly face.
왜?
Be careful which pub you're going
그게
to.
뭐야?
바나나인데 여기서 커피 안에 들어갔어.
바나나가 커피? 아니야 먹으면서 맛있지 않아?
Still good. 어떻게 도와줄까?
커피 먹었다. 이거를 이렇게 손으로 바꿨죠.
산으로? 뭐를? 엄마 다시 한번 써줄까? 잘 보이게.
아니
왜?
이걸 써.
여기서?
응.
여기다 쓰면 안 되지. 한 글자만 써줄게. 그럼 이산이가 제일 힘들어하는 글자 한 글자만 여기 써줄게. 한 글자 뭘 써줄까?
먹고 싶다.
뭐? 한 글자만 써줄게.
이거
Plus provided by the stadium. All the catering will be shot. So Norency burgers and cartoons of flat Pepsi to keep me going. When I immediately turn up to the stadium, theoretically the crowds are predictably spiked. The pub outside the crowd overflowed with supporters wrapped in scarlet flag looked like a tempting alternative. But when I suggest to a steward that might go get a drink ahead of the game, a look of concern crosses her kindly face. Be careful which pub you're going to, she said. Double see it coming. What is she referring to? Could it be Dunch book bag A4 side that I'm clutching? I have given my spare ticket to a real Scot, my friend Alastair, but he's from Edinburgh, so also now 100% at home in Glasgow. We decide to take the advice and skip the pub. Inside the stadium, we encounter fan in the loudest tartan suit I ever seen, including a tiny tartan clutch bag. I posed for a photo with him and they tells me I had a tailor-made son. It fits me like a glove. It is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar European tournament. Euro 2020, as a UFL student system calling it, has also become sucked into the culture wars. The football authority culture wars. English football team at the pressing issue for Scotland is independence. For England, it is race. English football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism. But each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the bullying and urged fans to get behind the
같이
team.
해줘.
But two members of his cabinet, Ted Koblesmo and Priya Patta, defended the
나
protesters.
지금 이거 이렇게 쓰고 있어.
The protest, but they decided to take the knee before matches as a 이거 딱 축만 써줘?
나 어려운 거는 여기 이게 무슨 글자인지 모르겠어.
이거 축이야 축. 엄마 다시 한번 좋게 써줄게. 이렇게 쓰면 돼. 이거부터
나는
decided to take the knee before matches.
지금 여기에 인 줄 알았어. 이.
아니야. No, right. Season 뭐지? English football decided to take them before matches as a protest against Brexit. First time they do it, they are booed by significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Brussels Prime Minister condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team. But two members of his cabinet, Jacob Lesmog and Priya Patta, defended the protesters. Anna expressed racism but condemned the Marxist of Black Lives Matter movement. Patta, burdened some security, accused the player of indulging in gesturing politics. Players from the England team whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp are now being added to rear home security. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be worried of the classic with the England team. Last year, it went down to economists to be when it took a Marcus Rashford over the extension of free school meals for families. The Manchester United and England Fold mobilized 1 million signatures behind the petition, including a Zoom call with Obama. While plenty of tourists are prepared to grumble about the walk in Rashford, none are willing to take him in public. The culture wars of football are not just happening in Britain. The multiracial Belgian team took the knee in Russia ahead of their opening game. They were also booed by the crowd. The Russians also protested against Marxism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the names for 2020, defended fan who visiting teams, saying that Hungarians did the gesture as a provocation. Orban is himself a right-wing provocateur who has become a hero to the Trumpist right in America by issuing frequent warning about the elderly dangers Europe being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable about footballers taking the knee. One prominent Tory thinker in Britain laments to me that football used to be in a political space, but now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means this year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96. When England played their games at Wembley and the whole country did seem to get behind the team in an uncomplicated sort of way. Back then, packed stadium all joined in a sing of the Lions, football's coming home. Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds are actually bringing the players. By somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the team was never mixed up with politics or race as is an illusion. England games have always attracted substantial number of solid hooligans and far-right supporters whose trademark chant is "No surrender to ILA." No surrender to the ILA. At the last European Football Championship in France, the ugly tradition of England football hooliganism re-emerged. When I remarked to another fan that I didn't particularly enjoy being caught up in a real riot outside a bar in Marseille, I was told curtly, "If you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television." Football grew in the 1970s, where I saw the most utter racing that I ever witnessed. It was routine to see black players bark Bibles and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years. So if the current national side feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing politics into a public space. 너무 잘 썼다, 이잖아. The particular racial politics have 축! 이걸 너무 잘 썼다. 그 다음에 이거 쓴 거야. 축하드려요. 엄마 하자 다시 썼어. So if the current national side with football, if the 뭐까지지?
엄마, 그런데 여기서 이건 아닐까?
이거 항상 건강하세요. 사랑하세요. 여기 칸이 작아가지고 못 쓰겠다. 나머지 이거 두 개는 다른 카드에 땄어.
신데렐라?
응.
힘든데.
그래, 그럼 여기까지만 써. 생신 축하드려요. I was Torker. If you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television. Football ground in the 1970s, where I saw the most over racing that I ever witnessed. It was routine to see the players bark Bibles and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years. So if the current national side feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing players into a public space. But now the national team has become a source of division. With the police, particularly the racial police, have always been there. The identity issues are rather different for Scotland. Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish government is ramping up demand for a second independent referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish government has even allowed school staff lessons to allow the kids to watch the game against Czechs live. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international
여기도
tournaments.
하가 나오네. How I feel 할 때.
I grew up supporting Scotland in big international I find the local.
옛날에도 아까 폭발한 거 똑같았잖아.
그거는 좀 달라. 봐봐. 그 화는 I find the local paper full of I find the local. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournament. The team I had little options since England failed to qualify for the World Cup of 1974 and 1978. I had little options since England failed the World Cup, but British identity was less complicated back then. The packed stadium all joined in the singing of the Lion. Football's coming home. Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds are actually bringing their players. For somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the team was never mixed up with politics or racing religion.
이게 무슨 글씨인 줄 모르겠어서 다시 여기 써.
이거 이따 다 쓰긴 했어. 드려요. The anthem play for the was less complicated back then. The anthem play for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was God Save the Queen. Although to recording did not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. The team will be belting out for Scotland with this story word that we can still rise and beat the nation again. 어머!
하트 줬을까?
응?
하트 줬을까?
응, 하트도 써. 어머! 이산이가 더 써야지, 이산이가.
장이산 여기 땄어.
원래 편지할 땐 여기다 쓴 거. 이산이, 장이산 그렇게 써.
아, 이산? 이렇게만 하면 안 돼.
그래도 돼. The story where we can still rise and beat the nation again. When Scotland qualified for the World Cup in 1973, there were more than 90,000 people in Southampton. But today, thanks to COVID, to little over 9,000. Far from the joyous return to the big time that has been advertised, it feels pretty black and lonely of in the stand. Even if the autonomy has been reduced to little more than a couple of battalions, the team started the game with all the expected passion stood for. Far from the joyous return to the big time that has been advertised, it feels pretty black and lonely of in the stand. But even if the Tartan army has been reduced to little more than a couple of battalions, without help. Well, kind of loud enough to drive the conversation.
만드는 선물 할게. 사오는 선물 따로 있고. 이거 어떻게 안 했네? 이걸?
엄마가 하려고 꺼내놨어. The captain Dale Burton can be seen gesturing to his player to calm down. Then the Czech score and they are sucked out of the stadium.
엄마 붙이.
응? 엄마 이거 다 읽어야 돼. 여기까지.
어디까지?
Out of stadium. And a group of children near me who continue shouting for Scotland. While they are around them, watch frozen in horror.
빨리 해놨는데 다른 것도.
After the match, Leicester reminds me that the captain can be suggested. At halftime, we chose two spent tolling next to the hand dryer. The warmest spot in Hamden tells Hopful around that Scotland might be able to turn this around. But early in the second half, football stories made by the Czech.
이건 별로.
The team center for Patrick Schick. The team center for gets the ball on the halfway line and floats the ball over the Scottish goalkeeper into the net. It is one of the most brilliant goals any of us will ever witness. The side often portrays as the embodiment of what we like to believe are national characteristics: courage, calmness under pressure. In fact, as a recent piece by John Lee in The Guardian pointed out, England are uniquely bad at holding a lead in a tournament. The numbers seem to suggest they might win battle, and they all have the French and Italians are much better at holding their net when they take a lead. 모르겠네. If Gareth, the England major, can somehow break this cycle and turn England into winning outfit, he will inadvertently provide a huge boost to a Johnson government that is desperate for symbol of success of Brexit Britain.
엄마가 씻어줘.
응?
아빠 화나서 나 도중에 뭐 하겠단 말이야.
오케이. 엄마 이거까지 읽고. Butler. Or the French Italians are much there holding their nerve when they take a lead. If Gareth Southgate, the England major, can somehow break this cycle and turn England into a winning outfit, he would inadvertently provide a huge boost to Johnson government that is desperate for symbol of success of Brexit Britain. But Southgate has subtly but unmistakably positioned himself to the left of the government on taking the knee. He leads a multiracial team and has reluctantly defended their right to make statement on subject other than football. It has become accepted wisdom that cultural wars always work better for the right than the left. But football may be an exception. All poll taken across Europe before 2020 defended fans who visiting teams saying the Hungary did no. 안다.
엄마 이제 가자.
아니 아직 안 했어. But football may be an exception. A poll taken across Europe before 2020 showed 54% of English football fans supported taking the knee with 39% opposed. If the England team keep winning, the number in favor may rise along with the team's popularity. For once, the right may find itself on the wrong end of culture war. For the duration of Euro 2020, I will care much less about who wins the culture war than who wins the tournament. For Scotland, Euro 2020 began with a deflating defeat. The England team disappointed fans almost as reliably as Scott, just slightly later in the day. On the other hand, this is a real tournament. It's taking place in the middle of pandemic. The stadiums are quarter full, and England are playing half decently. I am allowing myself to afford a weirdest countdown.
만들었다.
on England victory.
빵.
그거 어떡해?